From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, September the 28th, 2023. The U.S. administration today announced some major steps in implementing the national strategy to counter anti-Semitism, which President Joe Biden announced this past May. The White House said for the first time, 8 federal agencies are making clear that Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits certain forms of anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, and related forms of discrimination in federally funded programs and activities. The White House said these wide-ranging protections provide important tools to curb discrimination based on shared ancestry or ethnic characteristics and to better protect the civil rights of all Americans. The agencies include the Departments of Agriculture, Health and Human Services, Homeland Security, Housing and Urban Development, Interior, Labor, Treasury, and Transportation. The White House adding that the Biden-Harris administration will continue to lead a robust whole-of-society effort to combat anti-Semitism and discrimination in all its insidious forms. The JTA reports extending these civil rights protections to victims of anti-Semitism and other forms of religious bigotry marks a broad expansion of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Israel's Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant met today with his German counterpart Boris Pistorius in Berlin to oversee the signing of a letter of commitment giving the go-ahead for Israel to begin manufacturing and then delivering the Arrow 3 defense system to Germany. A defense contract of approximately $3.5 billion, Israel's biggest ever to date. Israel's Ministry of Defense said the largest security deal in the country's history has begun. The Israeli and German ministries of defense have signed a historic agreement to start the deal for the sale of the Arrow system, citing Gallant saying at the ceremony, 80 years since World War II, Israel and Germany join hands in building a safer future for both nations. Today, with 2 simple signatures, we made history. Israel reopened its pedestrian border crossing with Gaza after a 2-week closure over violent riots and incendiary balloons that were being sent over the border into Israel. The Times of Israel cited the IDF's coordinator for the Palestinian territories yesterday, saying the continuation of the civil measures will be possible in accordance with security assessments and with the preservation of stable security. Today, the Times of Israel said that terror group Hamas reportedly told Egypt that it will work to make sure that riots on the border stop, with reports that Egypt was coordinating an agreement to seek an end to the violence. A follow-up now to a story we told you about yesterday. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau apologized yesterday in Parliament after a former Nazi was inadvertently honored in the House of Commons. As we reported to you, Yaroslav Hunka was invited by Speaker of the House of Commons, Anthony Rota, to attend a speech by Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky on Friday, introducing him as a war hero who fought for the 1st Ukrainian Division, which spurred a standing ovation. Later, it came to light that that division was also known as the Waffen-SS Galicia Division, a Nazi unit. Rota, who was unaware of this information at the time, resigned after the news came to light. Trudeau spoke to the press just ahead of addressing lawmakers in Parliament to present, he said, unreserved apologies for what took place.
All of us who were in this House on Friday regret deeply having stood and clapped, even though we did so unaware of the context. It was a horrendous violation of the memory of the millions of people who died in the Holocaust, and it was deeply, deeply painful for Jewish people. Every year, there are fewer and fewer Holocaust survivors to share firsthand the horrors of what they experienced, and it is therefore incumbent upon us all to ensure that no one ever forgets what happened.
Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, September the 28th at 7 o'clock, Outstanding Jewish Manhattanites, including Richard Haass, Debra Messing, Rabbi Marc Angel, Cheryl Fishbein, and more, are honored during the Manhattan Jewish Hall of Fame's annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony. At 9, Rabbi Robert Wolkoff is on L'chaim. At 10, Rabbi Ammiel Hirsch delivers his Yom Kippur sermon. And coming up next, I speak with former Israeli ambassador to the US, Danny Ayalon, on the long-anticipated meeting last week between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Biden on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, September the 28th, 2023. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.